Hey everyone, we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to be doing a lot of it different for the next little while. So stay with me because I'm hitting old records that were like my grandmother's, my great grandfather's, my great grandmother's, possibly my great aunts. What I'm trying to say here is I'm doing records that are way out of my time. So you got to really stay in tune for this. Now, starting with this. This one not technically too far out of my time when looking at the years. We got Satchmo Louis Armstrong, 1900 to 1971. This is an old set. Sadly, it has started to show its age with wear and tear and the lid separated from the box, unfortunately. I have a couple complaints about this album. I'm going to do the complaints up front. First off, I hate when, I know it's a box, but come on, put stuff on the back. The track listing, at least. I shouldn't have to open it up to get the track listing, okay? I got issues with that. Now, coming and speaking of the track listing, all right, there are 3 vinyl discs, 3 records, okay? 3 vinyl records in this set. So you got side 1, side 2, side 3, side 4, side 5, and side 6. Now, I have looked at every last one of these records, okay? And nowhere on any of the records is it marked side 1. Oh, no, there it is. I finally found it. Holy crap, that wasn't really... All right, so it is marked on the record. However, you would think side 1 and side 2 would be on the same disc. Side 3 and side 4 on the same disc. Side 5 and side 6 on the same disc. No. Side 1 and side 6 are on the same disc. Side 2 and side 5 are on the same disc. And 3 and 4 are on the same disc. That annoyed the hell out of me because I went from real early to when I put the record on, I just put it on, flip it over, and then I go from real early to real late. It's a little annoying. Now, I learned some cool things from reading this. Now, if you're like me, you always think of Louis Armstrong for, obviously, the song What a Wonderful World, because most people are going to just go there. And weirdly, that is not part of this collection. But I'm going to say it's because of when in his career it was recorded. I think a lot of these were recorded in the early years. I love the scat stuff on here. I'm not so big on what I learned, the cornet. Boring. And second cornet at that. The write-up in here, I read the write-up through here, and, to pick up some details for doing this and whatnot. And here's what I'm going to say. There are a couple songs on side 1 that actually get interesting and kind of cool. Side 2 isn't bad. Side 3 is pretty decent. Side 4 doesn't do too much for me. Side 5 I thought was kind of decent. Side 6 is great. So side 1, we got Mabel's Dream. This was done when Louis was with King Oliver's Creole Jazz Band. And Louis Armstrong was on second cornet. I gotta check what a cornet is because I think it's a type of horn, but it's not a horn that I'm overly familiar with. Or maybe it's a woodwind. I'm not sure. It's not one that I'm familiar with, though, so I have to check on that. Comments down below. What's a cornet, folks? Next track is Copenhagen with the Fletcher Henderson Band. Then you get to Texas Moaner. This is with Clarence William Blues 5. I did actually enjoy Texas Moaner. That one was kind of interesting. Then we get into Heebie Jeebies. This one was fun. I actually really enjoyed Heebie Jeebies. That's the first time I got to hear a little scat going on. So that was really, really cool. And I really dig scat. I love when people scat over music. I'm a big fan of scat. I like to scat myself. I've never done it over an album after all these years. Joked around about doing it. I think I'm going to have to do a scat album. I think I'm going to do an EDM scat album. That's just absolutely where I'm going next with my EDM. I'm going to do an EDM scat album. So check it out. That'll be coming sometime after Christmas. In my derangedness, I'm going to work on it. All right, Potato Head Blues. I'm not sure how I feel about this one, especially with what Potato Head tends to mean. So that's a weird one. It was a decent tune, though. I actually like the song. Coronet Chop Suey. This was okay. I didn't mind this. It was kind of fun while I was playing. All right. Then we get into side two. We got Static Strut. That wasn't bad. Stomp Off, Let's Go FT. That was okay. That is Erskine Tate's Vendrell Theater Orchestra. I believe that's who it is for the next few songs who he's playing with. Then you got Come Back Sweet Papa, which wasn't bad. Big Butter and Eggman from the West, which does actually stand out kind of from the rest a little bit. SOL Blues and Gully Low Blues. Gully Low Blues was Louis Armstrong and his Hot Five. Side one didn't do as much, or side two doesn't do as much for me as side one did. Side three, Skit Dat Dee Dat. That was a fun little scat number at the beginning. I like that. I'm Not Rough. That wasn't bad. Hotter Than That. That was pretty decent. I'm going to stop listing which band because some of them they list clearly, some of them they don't. So I'm not 100% sure who did which ones. Chicago Breakdown was fun. Stretton with Some Barbecue was okay. And West End Blues was okay. Then side four, Weatherbird didn't do anything for me. Muggles. Okay. Muggles? If you are a Harry Potter fan, to see a song on here called Muggles from way back when, man, gonna have to do some research into that. So, if you know what Muggles meant in this context, drop a line down below. Let me know. Bo Kujak. Bo is in the French spelling of Bo, Beau, Koo, Jack. I think it's supposed to be Boku, as in Boku, thank you. Merci beaucoup, or much, sorry. Thank you. Merci is thank you, so Boku would be much. Much Jack? Oh, weird. I'm not sure where to go with that one. Anyways, decent enough tune. Mahogany Hall Stomp. That one didn't do much for me. Lazy River didn't do much for me. And Stardust didn't do much for me. Side five, Shine was okay. Ding Dong Daddy was pretty decent. Between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea, that was a good tune. Ain't Misbehaving, good tune. St. Louis Blues, that one wasn't bad. Long Gone. All right, Long Gone, man. Oh, Frank Zappa must have been listening to this one when he was working on Joe's Garage. When they get into the part about Big John in the bathroom on Joe's Garage, man, I swear to God, he was channeling this song in there, man, doing his little homage to it. It was really, really cool. Caught me off guard. Then we get into side six, Atlanta Blues, Tiger Rag, Mac the Knife. That one was cool, man. I like Mac the Knife. That was awesome. A song that I've always dug. And I'm used to, I guess it would be the Sinatra version of it. So to hear Louis Armstrong doing it, man, that was awesome. And I think in the future, that's the way I'm going to go with it. Is I love karaokeing when I can do the Louis Armstrong voice because it's just kind of natural for me to do a Louis Armstrong voice. I like getting that little growly thing going on in there, man. I've karaokeed What a Wonderful World so many times. But interestingly, in the last 2 years, I've actually switched up. Instead of doing the traditional What a Wonderful World, I actually do the Joey Ramone version because I like the up tempo, but I still do the Louis Armstrong voice on it. It's great. It's so much fun. Get really into it, high energy that way. I really like the high energy of it. Okay, and Back the Knife, man. I now that I know that Louis did, I think I'm gonna have to start doing it as Louis's version. Since Love Had Its Way was okay, Lonesome Summer Song was okay, and Cabaret was kind of cool to finish out the collection. So the whole way around, I know it sounds like I'm downplaying this. Would I recommend this? Absolutely. I only listened to this one time straight through before doing this review. Okay, and this is why part of what I'm doing is downplaying it. I mean, honestly, there's 3 vinyl here. If I wasn't downplaying it and I gave this like heavy attention, I could be here for an hour or two. No one wants to listen to me talk for an hour or two, and I don't want to talk for an hour or two. But I picked this up at a garage sale for $5. Absolutely worth the money for picking it up at the garage sale for $5. I thought it was great. Wonderful albums. Really made for a wonderful afternoon to sit here and listen to it. You can definitely sadly hear that it is vinyl and it was all recorded on probably vinyl to start with, and therefore, it's technically a copy of a copy. Actually, this would probably be a copy of a copy of a copy if I had to guess. I'm going to say that there is very little chance that any of this was taken from the original recordings of these songs. That being said, the original recordings would have, for a good chunk of them at least, would have been recorded directly onto vinyl in the first place. So therefore, you're only going to, the breakdown right away is going to happen when you're making duplicates from duplicates from duplicates. And this is going to definitely be duplicate from duplicate. I don't mind hearing the static, the hiss, and the pop. And it's really weird because with my record player, I've got a pretty decent one. I don't get a lot of static, hiss, and pop, especially on new vinyl. And when I say new vinyl, I mean vinyl that is either from the 70s and basically still pristine, or, I actually bought it brand new in the last 10 years because I only started buying new vinyl in the last 10 years and I don't own a lot of it. But like when I put on a Jack White album, for example, I don't get the hiss, the pop, classic vinyl sound. You put this on, you get the classic vinyl sound. And I find myself having to turn the stereo up a little bit louder to bring it up a little bit, which is why I say it's a copy of a copy of a copy. It's definitely has a third generation sound of copy to it. It could even be a fourth generation. All I know is I wish it was a lot clearer, and I wish it had a richer, fuller sound. And I wish the ability to record at least the way reel to reel worked for doing old school 4-track was around back then, then slap the 2 4-tracks together like Black Sabbath did to make their first album. Just because then we'd be able to go back and remaster these with true clarity and precision and get a better sound. You're never going to, even if you take a laser record player, so you get the most pristine digital possible version you can get of the original recording and go and remaster it, you're never going to be able to get that purity sound that people like myself look for, where it's just nice, clear cut sound. But this is musical education, man. And musical education to me is important. As much as I love my hard rock, heavy metal, you gotta know other music. You gotta listen to other music. Because that's what made rock and roll and heavy metal great. Blues and jazz. That is Black Sabbath, in the beginning. So to me, you have to know this stuff. You gotta. And if you're not willing to listen to it, can you really call yourself a fan of music? I don't know, folks. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Tell me, have you listened to Louis Armstrong's Satchmo? I'm hoping I'm saying that right. And if you have, do you enjoy this album as much as I do? Because let me tell you, I really enjoy this. I will definitely be keeping this handy. It's not something that's going to go on regularly, but you know, it's going to get its plays every now and then because it's damn good and damn fun, worth listening to. Once again, really love the scat stuff on here, man. I really dig scat. I can't believe how much I dig scat. This is why you have to listen to this stuff. I always dug it a little bit as a kid, you know. I'd hear little bits of it here and there, you know. I remember asking my dad, having explained to me what scat was when I was really young. You know, Dad, what's scat? He's like, well, it's when you go, you know, bebop, bop, 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 or stuff like that. And you know, the very first thing I ever listened to that had scat on it, most people would know it from Surfin' Bird, but I know it from the Beach Boys, who took it from Surfin' Bird, and it's Papa Hoo Mau Mau. Papa Hoo Mau Mau, Papa Hoo Mau Mau, Papa Hoo Mau Mau, Papa Hoo Mau Mau, Papa Hoo Mau Mau. It's scat, man. You know, it's a lighter version of it because it's scat, man. Scat deep 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 bow 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 wow, you know. And on that, folks, let me know what you think. Do you like scat as much as I do? Tell me you like scat. You must love the scat. And I don't mean that scat if you know the other scat. All right, folks. Comments down below, please and thank you. Like button, subscribe button, bell for notification. I'm still trying to hit that magic 200 number. Maybe I've hit it by this point. Maybe I haven't. I don't know. But I'm still trying to hit it as of the recording. So please, you know, it won't hurt to go over. All right, folks. Peace, love, take care. And there's probably a couple links down there worth checking out too.